Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on understanding body language, liars, cheats and happy feet. Hope everyone's okay and having a good day. So I've just got home from work and I'm going to cover a new Michael Jackson video from the old Conrad Murray trial, and this is Nicole Alvarez. Now that I believe this was, or possibly still is, Dr. Conrad Murray's girlfriend. So we're going to have a look through this particular segment of video, and we're going to see if we can spot any non-verbals leaking through, and spotting anything untoward, or we can see if her intentions are detectable or transparent. So let's start the video at the beginning and let's see if we can spot anything.
Yes, and that son's father is Conrad Murray. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Right, okay, so before we begin, don't forget this is a segment from an interview. We can't get an understanding of someone's baselines based on just a 5-minute interview, because I'm sure this particular segment of the trial, when she was being questioned, was around about maybe 45 minutes in length. So in the segment I've seen, you can't get a good understanding of what someone does normally or under stress. So please bear that in mind. But with that in mind, let's continue the interview. So what's happening there? She's just going through the motions. We can see consistent use of the verbal communication, which is linked to the non-verbal by saying yes.
Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
And the head nod for emphasis. So there's nothing wrong with that. Looks pretty good.
Did you give birth here in Los Angeles?
Yes, I did.
At Cedars-Sinai Hospital?
Yes.
At some point during your...
So that's what I call easy answers to easy questions. Just going through the motions, just trying to get an understanding of what someone does when they say yes, no, whether they shake the head first or say yes first and then shake. So don't read too much into that.
Relationship with Conrad Murray. Did he tell you that he was Michael Jackson's doctor?
At some point, yes, I did.
When was that?
Perhaps in 2008.
No, that's a very interesting answer. Now, bearing in mind it's 2011, so we're talking about things that have happened quite a few years ago. However, that was a particular long pause to a relatively easy question. We can see a pause. Eyes are not darting about. Eyes then go up and to her left. We can clearly see that.
Perhaps in 2008.
And then we can see the lips coming together at the front there. So, a little bit of a sign of stress leaking out on this particular question here. So, let's just continue.
Conrad Murray also tell you that he treated Michael Jackson's children?
He didn't get into the details. I knew that he was his personal physician, but I didn't hear of him ever treating his children.
So he only told you that he was treating Michael Jackson. He didn't tell you that he also had treated Michael's children. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so that little segment there. We see a pacifying gesture come to the front of the face.
He didn't get into the details. I knew that he was his personal physician, but I didn't hear of him ever treating his children.
So there's the pacifier. However, don't read too much into that particular expression, because we're looking for signs of stress, and we don't really see anything there because we're seeing consistent head shakes with no.
Ever treating his children.
So we see the pacifier. She might have actually had a scratch then, you see, or an itch. But you can't really read too much into that one.
Treating Michael Jackson, he didn't tell you that he also had treated Michael's children. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So we see a head down and yes. So I think that's okay, because she did that particular expression moments before when she was asking questions about was your son born in Los Angeles and things like that. So that looks relatively accurate. So that's fine.
When Conrad Murray told you that he was Michael Jackson's physician...
Now then, look at that particular body language here. That's a good use of what's called a power play. To make ourselves more confident, we'll stride round and give ourselves space, which this lady does here. She doesn't like to be penned in. She likes to walk around. Makes us look more dominating.
When Conrad Murray told you that
palms open.
Michael Jackson's physician, were you interested in that information?
I know how she deflects straight the question by using
that information.
Absolutely.
The palms open.
And why is that?
Okay, now first thing I noticed there, asymmetrical shoulder shrug flashing through on the left with the eyes closed.
Absolutely.
And why is that?
It's Michael Jackson.
Must have been pretty exciting.
Definitely.
Did you ask Conrad Murray what type of care he was giving to Michael Jackson?
I don't recall asking him any questions. No.
But you were interested, you just don't...
Now, what we see there is...
Did you
Watch
ask
this.
Conrad Murray what type of care he was giving to Michael Jackson?
So we see the eyes go down, up and left.
I don't recall asking.
So I don't recall. So that is not a good answer to give. Now that I don't recall, he's not saying yes or no. She does, however, follow up with the no.
Him any questions? No.
But you were interested, you just...
And what we see there is a micro expression. So let's just flash back. Now, know how the face changes
No.
from that particular expression that she's flashing there.
But you were interested, you just...
And then we can see the eyes glare. The eyes go down, and we can see the corners of the mouth.
But you were interested, you just...
When she's interested, we see the corners of the mouth drop down very slight. It's a real true micro expression, that one.
Don't remember if you asked him any questions or not.
And then it's definitely a micro expression because we see another sign of stress. We see another pacifier. However, this one's different than the one she did before. The one, the hand-to-face gesture she made before was more pronounced. It looked like she actually had an itch. However, on this particular expression, if we know how she makes the hand-to-face gesture after she's made that fleeting expression...
Any questions? No.
No. We see a fleeting expression, a sign of stress, and she pacifies by just literally glancing the side of the nose on the left-hand side. So we're seeing here clusters of stress. It doesn't mean she's lying, it doesn't mean she's being deceptive, it just means that her limbic responses to this are causing her face shape to change. Anatomically, her facial muscles are being recruited to feel a particular emotion, and then what we can see then is a sign of stress by the hand-to-face gesture coming to the nose. So I think this is particularly a hot question because it's evoked some kind of internal stress by Nicole.
I just respected his profession.
And we can see there with the eyebrows up. Watch the eyebrows raise.
Don't
So we
remember if
see
you asked him any questions or
the
not.
pacifier.
I was extremely interested, but...
And we're extremely interested, and the eyebrows go up.
Don't
That's
remember if you asked him any
consistent.
questions or not.
I was extremely interested, but I just respect...
And we can see that particular facial expressions there. Almost like a little bit like anguish. How we can see the eyebrows being pulled down and together.
I just respected...
Very briefly, and then they raise towards the corners of the eye. We're seeing a little slight flash of anger.
his profession, and I know that wasn't his common practice to discuss his duties. So I didn't ask him. I figured that if he...
And we can also see that left-hand side shoulder shrugging.
His profession, and I know that wasn't his common practice to discuss his duties. So I didn't ask
There you
him.
go.
I figured that if he wanted to share information, he would do it on his time.
And what we can see there also is, let's just scoot back here. We can just see slight muscle movement on the corner of the mouth here. Let's just look
He
at
would
that
do
again.
it on his time.
And we can also see a slight sneer going on there as well with that particular facial expression. So we're seeing signs of stress leak out, and then towards the end of this little segment here, she's sneering ever so slightly. So again, we're seeing signs of stress at the moment.
Did you, in fact, meet Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
And who introduced you?
Dr. Mary?
So what we can see here with Nicole is consistent head nods
Yes.
while saying yes. So that's parts of her baseline body language, what she does normally. So we can see that leaking
And who
out here.
introduced
That's
you?
perfectly fine.
Dr. Mary?
When was that?
I want to say it was sometime in 2008.
So I want to say, but note how we can see repeated eye behaviour, eyes going up and left.
When was that?
There you go. So eyes up and left. So we're seeing repeated eye behaviour.
I want to say it was sometime in 2008.
Now then, if you are in the NLP world and you've heard of visually eye movements in association with remembering things, up and left for a right-handed person is called visually remembered imagery, VRI, and that's when we're actually thinking about things that have actually happened to recall information. It's called visual accessing clues. So,
Was it before you had your son?
Yes.
And how did it come about that you got to meet Michael Jackson?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Why is that? What is confusing about it?
Because it's Michael Jackson.
Would
Okay,
you
so an
say
interesting transaction there. Nothing much to read. We're just going through the signs of emotions there, of almost like disbelief because it's Michael Jackson. So don't worry about that too
that
much.
in June, Conrad Murray spent more time at your apartment and then going to work for Mr. Jackson in June than he did in the previous months, or about the same?
I think it's fair to say probably about the same.
So again, we've seen repeated eye behaviour where the eyes scan all the way around
I think it's
and then hit
fair
up and
to
left.
say probably.
Now, what's interesting to know is this lady's an actor. Now then, unless she might have studied an LP, and she might well know that by moving your eyes up and left, people analysing this, like myself, who do body language, will be able to say that up and left eye movements are indicative of remembering things, not creating things. However, if she studied acting, I'm pretty sure she might have been coached for this, and she would have told them that try and keep your eye movements up and left if you can, because it'll look like you're remembering things, not creating them. So we're seeing certainly a pattern of up and left eye movements here. Whether that's actual internal changes happening, or whether she's doing that deliberately, you make your own mind up there.
About the same.
And you describe that as being virtually every night except a night off here and there?
Yes.
Did
Now, what's interesting to note there is a little change internally. And now watch how her eyes go slightly up to think about something. Now then, I often do this particular eye movement when I've lost something and I'm trying to think back to where I've put it. Like, where the hell are my car keys? I'll think, and I'll think, where the bloody hell are my car keys? And I'll move my eyes instinctively up and right when I'm trying to think about where did I last put them.
being virtually every night except a night off here and there?
Yes.
So we're seeing consistency, and then we can see what happens here.
Did
That particular fleeting expression there, now watch how the eyes go up. So she must have thought about something else then.
did
There you go. So we're seeing the eyes dart up, and then we're back.
strike that? So you
to
were
normal.
obviously aware that Mr. Jackson was preparing for his concert tour in London, correct?
Yes.
Did Conrad
Now what's interesting there is the cheek behaviour. Note how she's pressing the cheeks here. There we go. We can see
concert tour in
flashes
London,
here.
correct?
Yes.
Did Conrad Murray ever tell you that he had attended rehearsals?
I don't recall.
Did you ever ask
Now then, I don't recall. Little bit of time for creativity there, potentially.
rehearsals?
Yes or no answer?
I don't recall.
Did you ever ask Conrad Murray if he attended a rehearsal?
No.
And that's a better no. That's more emphatic and with the head shake as well. So we're seeing consistency there.
You weren't even curious about how it was going?
I thought I was going to see the show.
Now then, what's interesting, that particular expression there where the shoulders and eyebrows go up at the same time.
About how it was going?
I thought I was going to.
Okay, that's very reminiscent of what's called a turtle effect, is when both shoulders go up, but the head drops down to try and make ourselves look as small as possible. So I think we can see there that potentially,
About how it was going?
I thought I was
know how you want to make yourself a little bit smaller.
going to see the show.
Now, is that not an answer?
Rehearsal?
No.
You weren't even curious about how it was going?
I thought I was going to see.
So that's a non-answer. So that question needed a yes or no answer.
You weren't even curious about how it was going?
I thought I was going to see the show.
So I thought I was going to see the show is neither yes nor no. So that's a very interesting response. And also we can see with the non-answer where the shoulders going up, head going down. So again, so we're seeing a little bit of sign of stress on that particular question as well.
Dr. Murray advised you that he was going to be expecting shipments and they would be coming to your apartment and you should be on the lookout for them, correct?
Yes.
Did he give you any details or information about what was contained in the packages?
No.
Were you assuming they were medical supplies of some sort?
No.
So again, this bit's good here because we're seeing clear, concise answers and no time for creativity. She's saying yes,
They were
no,
medical
everything's fine here.
supplies of some sort?
No.
Overruled, the answer remains.
Did you have any sense of what these packages contained?
No.
Did you open them?
No.
So we're seeing no facial expressions, we're seeing no macro or micro expressions. Everything here is in the right place. So we're seeing no signs of stress at the moment.
Did Murray tell you not to open them?
No.
So I think that particular segment is 100% truthful. So I don't think she's tampered with them or touched them.
Did you need to sign for the packages that came to your residence?
Yes.
Did you speak with him, Conrad Murray, on June 25th of 2009?
Yes.
Do you recall the conversation?
Yes.
Was it a brief conversation?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
I remember him telling me that he was on the way to the hospital in the ambulance with Mr. Jackson, and for me not to be alarmed because that he didn't want me to be worried because he knew that I would learn this through the news and
You'd be upset.
Yeah.
And
okay, so that bit looks relatively truthful. However, we see that particular facial expression there with the corners of the mouth looks particularly strong dose of sadness.
did you also receive phone calls from Conrad Murray later that afternoon? For example, 3:58 p.m.
So we're seeing a pacifier to the side of the neck.
4:31 p.m., 4:32 p.m., and 5:02 p.m.
I don't remember if I received phone calls or if...
And again, we see that repeated movement, eyes up and left.
Remember if I received phone calls or if I was calling him at that time. There was a lot.
And we can see this particular emblem here, which he's making here, which is called back and forth.
At that time, there was a lot.
We don't really see. And what's also interesting, as a good sign as well, is the fingers are open wide. It's a good expression. That when we see the fingers open wide, it tells us we've got more confidence in what we're saying, and that if we have the fingers relatively close together. That's good. So that particular expression here with the fingers wide open is pretty good.
There was a lot.
It's a truthful response.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Did you recall, or do you recall, that you spoke with him during the afternoon time of June 25th of 2009? For example, were you able to reach him?
I don't remember if I was able to reach him or not.
Okay, and we're seeing
I don't remember.
something in the court here by the
later that
times.
day,
We can't really see what those are.
Conrad Murray arrived back at your apartment in Santa Monica?
Yes.
Do you know how he arrived there?
No.
So there we go. So that's the interview taken care of. That's the segment I've seen here. So don't forget, Nicole Alvarez is an actor, so she might have been coached somewhat for the interview. We certainly see a lot of up and left eye movements, which don't forget in the NLP world is visually remembered imagery. If you buy into that, you can recall thoughts by moving the eyes up and left. If you are a right-handed person, then again she might be left-handed. We don't know. We see certainly signs of stress from Nicole. During different parts of that, we see fleeting micro expressions that come in, and then we can see a pacifying gesture by the touching of the nose. I think the first hand to face gesture she did, it looks like she actually had a scratch, so don't misinterpret that. However, the second one comes after she made that fleeting facial expression, so we're seeing a constellation of movements indicative of stress. So we can clearly see that particular question might need more information from Nicole, because it's causing her stress. But all in all, so that was a pretty good interview I've seen here by Nicole. I mean, she's been coached, so I don't know what she does in the acting world, because I've never seen it before in my life. But that was a good interview done by Nicole there. So there you go. So with that in mind, I do hope you enjoyed that video analysis on understanding body language, liars, cheats and happy feet. If you got any questions, then please let me know. Don't forget to check out my body language page called Understanding Body Language, Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet. You can find me on Facebook. Just leave a comment, let me know if you're enjoying these videos, and if you're not, I'm looking forward to seeing the conclusion of the Conrad Murray trial. One of the surgeons came out today and said that Michael Jackson didn't self-administer the lethal dose of propanol, So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. But it's not looking good for Dr. Conrad Murray from what I've seen. But there you go. So anyway, I hope the Michael Jackson community enjoyed this video. If you can, please share this on your pages. If you've got Michael Jackson pages and you're watching this, please share this on there if you can. And please share my other Michael Jackson videos on there as well. I've got quite a few to choose from. So from everyone here understanding body language, liars, cheese and happy feet, take care and I'll speak to you all soon.